Hey everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be talking about being willing to lose in coins. I think it's probably one of the most important pieces of dealer advice that has helped me as a coin dealer or as somebody that's telling other people who, as part of Treasure Town, are purchasing coins. And I really want to hammer this point across to all of you because it's so important. So when, it probably won't be a super long video, but it's stuff that I thought would benefit people quite a lot to hear, and this applies to both collecting but more so to dealing. But I think that there's such an overlap between a lot of people start as collectors and then realize that instead of only using money from elsewhere to put into coins, that it makes sense if you can have kind of a sharp eye, you can slowly trade up or certainly supplement with outside income, but then be smart in terms about how you build up a collection over time. But more so the advice is going to be towards the dealing side, because one of the biggest things that I started doing when I was purchasing was I would only buy home runs. So I would only buy coins out there where I felt I had a really good chance of making a bunch more on it, or especially it was like going to coin shops and buying stuff for very, very little that I knew I could sell, for a little amount. But and I still mostly operate in like sub $100 coins. So I think I'm trying to get more towards that kind of $50 to $100 range instead of the like $5 to $20 range. But basically, there's so many different reasons that you want to do that, whether it's having better and stronger new inventory types. I think that that's something like when I'm putting together auctions, I have an issue because I often will have to buy a bunch of the same coin, but I still want my auctions to feel fresh. So it's pretty important for me that I take that risk and buy a new ruler, or I go up in the condition, or I buy a different country and even expand into a totally new type. Like we've been doing a lot more Asian, some Japanese, Chinese coins, and some proto money, all these types of things that it may not be what I know. So if I'm going to put together an auction that sells $1,000 in coins, instead of having all 1,000 being stuff that I know about, maybe I'm going to, buy 5 coins from a totally new country that are a little bit pricier. And then I've done this several times with different coins. For example, I bought some German East African coins, and I actually did pretty poorly on them. I lost money. I think there were like 5 of them I bought, and I think I lost money on 3. And overall, I think I made 5% loss or so. But it was really helpful for me to give those coins, a shot to other people, and they obviously own them. And the only downside, unless you way overpay, but if I'm auctioning coins or selling coins, and sometimes I'll have to sell a coin at a loss just to kind of get out of it, is you have a better perspective of what it's like to trade that material. So in this case, now I know a little bit more what to look for on these German East African coins, and I feel confident around if I see them at a different price. And I keep a database of every coin that I've sold, in what condition, what coin it is, especially applies to some of the older ancient coins. But we then have confidence around if there's an additional, I just bought a few more German East African coins actually, but I was able to pay a lower price than the previous time, and I only was going to pay that price and not a higher price when I was negotiating with that dealer, because I've had much more conviction around where I could sell that. It also is kind of relevant because if I only did what worked well once, and you have to sort of use some subjectivity here, there are certain examples of coins where the first 15 of them sell badly, and then all of a sudden you cultivate more of a collector base, or you realize things that you didn't used to realize about which coins are rare or what coins have more, what the important features in eye appeal or how collectors of that material are trying to collect it, and then it starts getting better. So, there's a lot of opportunity to cultivate a collector base, and then all of a sudden now they're more interested in something. So if you're only doing, if you make one decision, you have to evaluate, okay, is it something with that specific idea, or the whole strategy? And so I think that that's been very important to reevaluate for me. I think there's also just a quantity angle to this. So if you are selling only home runs, maybe in my example, I was buying a bunch of coins for $5 each, and I could always sell them for $10 each. But if you can all of a sudden buy a bunch of coins for $40 each, and some of them you make 70, and others of them you lose, 10, it's obviously, or actually that's not really the best example, but you could discover things that are really strong, and then all of a sudden you're doing really well. But I'd rather make an average of 10% on my coins on 10 times the amount versus making 100% on, or not 100% because that would be equal, but making 30% on 10 times less. So that's sort of easy math. And the thing is, as you do more volume in coins, there's going to be less coins that you're super convicted and confident around making that additional money on. So, if I had a method and could always just add more to it, it's an incredible business idea because it's infinite. But as it turns out, like to sell, if you're going to sell 10,000 of coins a month versus 1,000, it's probably, there's going to be stuff that you're less familiar with, less comfortable with. You take a risk. Sometimes a lot of those work out really well, and other times they don't. There's also examples where like I have a lot of outside buyers, and so there's been cases where there's one time in particular I can think. I was working with Spencer on a buy. He made a buy, and Spencer's kind of our ancients guy, but we have a few ancients guys, but Spencer's really been running point on that, and certainly for the longest amount of time. And there was a situation where he made this big buy, and it almost like we hardly had the money to pay for it. We had to like come up with extra funds to pay for it. And I was furious because I thought it was a horrible purchase. But it ended up working out really well because going back, and I actually wasn't thinking of this example when I started making this video. This is just truly like, I figure it's helpful. I wish that there were more dealers that were more candid about how they see trading coins. Like we had sold a few of these items before. This was like Syrophoenician tetradrams and sold them really badly. And then Spencer had bought a bunch of this stuff from a dealer connection, and I was pretty upset with him. And it ended up, and the first few did very badly. But then after a little bit of time, the coins, and it speaks to a bunch of the points that I made. Wasn't thinking of this at all, but started to get much more interest in them. There were some different rulers throughout the process. It was new material that we hadn't sold much of in the past, and it ended up working out to be a good. The way we had structured it, we don't structure it that way anymore in terms of a buyer incentive. But the point is, kind of speaks to everything in this story. And it was an opportunity that we were less familiar with, so I think it was a little bit lower margin, but like I thought that we were going to lose like 30 or 40%, and I think it was, a slightly under margin profitable sale. So there's a bunch of reasons that I think and it's also basic math to think through. Okay, I would rather make 10% on way more coins than 20% on less coins. If you can 10x the amount that you're selling and it brings down your profits by half, well, you're 5 times more profitable. Is that the right? Let me think through. Yeah, definitely. You're actually, now I'm confusing myself again. If you're making $1 profit, if you go down to 50 cents and then go up by 10, it's really bad math on my end. But that is a good reason to spend more, because at the same time you're going to be hitting on a bunch more different types of items and a bunch more reps, and you'll have more customers as well who can sort of grow a brand and then have more confidence in purchasing, and so many more people have purchased from Treasure Town or your business, and you'll have a lot more awareness. So there's just a lot of benefits to scale. Obviously it's sort of a pain, all of the packing and all of the logistics and sourcing as you scale. That costs a lot more too, because another thing we found out is that if we sell a coin for $8 and we paid $4 for it, we're going to lose money on it because it costs more than $4 to sell a coin. So you can't sell those coins because it's not profitable unless you're viewing it as like a customer acquisition, in which case there's a little bit of a different argument. But going back to that, as things have scaled, it's not just like Christian from Treasure Town can run an 80 coin sale or, put a bunch of coins on the mailing list when he sees fit. When I often don't pay myself. I haven't paid myself this whole year. I've just been focused on buying and selling coins, and that's a totally different angle to run this business from. But when you have to pay somebody else to sell it, all of a sudden you have to pay hourly charges for everything from uploading coins and taking photos and putting it on your email list, fulfilling it and shipping it, and make sure somebody's on hand to immediately ship out the coin within a day or two of somebody purchasing it, and packing it up. If sometimes Isaiah runs an auction, it feels free to me to run an auction, though it does cost my time, but I want to be really fair to people, so obviously Isaiah's getting paid. So there's just a lot of thought that goes into it, and I think there's plenty of topics here that I could expand on, and I'm interested in your thoughts. Please leave your comments and can try to address stuff. There's definitely some questions where it's like a little bit of secret sauce that I don't want to delve into, but I feel like it would be cool if there were more people who were thinking through their business. And forgive me if there's stuff that I've been a little bit intentionally vague around, but I think that I've been pretty transparent here. And so it's worked for me. Buying more, it's fun, and you get to see more coins, and you get to put more coins in people's collections, which is the big message. Not message. Well, it's the message of this video, but it's the mission of this company, to enhance collecting for as many people as possible. So thanks so much. I'll see you on some upcoming videos, and keep on collecting and dealing, because it's important to have a good dealer ecosystem to serve all the collectors that are out there as well. Thanks for watching the video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to visit our website, treasuretown.com, to stay up to date on everything going on the channel and possibly get some great deals on coins and collectibles. We look forward to seeing you on our future videos, and best wishes until then.